Hello everyone, I'm Tony Southcott.
And I'm Komette, and welcome to the Gorehounds Playground here in Fort Collins, Colorado. This is Booze and Booze, where we pair different alcoholic drinks with our reviews of horror movies.
And today we're here to talk about The Babadook from Jennifer Kent. It's an Australian horror movie, and yeah, we are excited to talk about it.
Yeah, let's go to the Gorehounds kitchen where I'll show you this week's drink. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Gorehounds kitchen. I'm really excited about this week's drink because it's something that I personally really like. I like drinking tea in the morning instead of coffee, and that's a big tradition in Australia where this movie takes place. And it's a little bit more complicated than the other drinks that we've done in this series, but it's definitely worth it. I promise you, I promise you. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with a Boston shaker, and we're going to do 1.5 ounces of brewed tea that's already cooled. Perfect. And then I'm going to do half an ounce of milk. And then I'm going to do half an ounce, or you can do a little bit more if you want it sweeter, of amaretto. And then half an ounce of vodka. Now, the thing that's going to make this drink absolutely amazing and elevate it a lot more is chocolate bitters. Chocolate bitters, or bitters in general, will take any drink that you're making and just elevate it. This little bottle was $7.99 at our local liquor store, and it's gonna last me pretty much for forever, and it will be good in anything that you have cream-based or chocolate-based or amaretto-based or really anything, pretty much. Put it in your White Russians or your anything that has Kahlua in it, anything with chocolate liqueur, milk, put it all in there. I'm only gonna do one dash. You can do two if you want a bit more. It didn't come out. Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to add ice and shake the crap out of it. Then I'm going to strain it into my glass. And there you have it, the milk tea.
We are talking today about the 2014 film The Babadook, and this one has a lot of the elements that were lacking from our previous Booze and Booze with La Lorena, and it's very interesting to me how you can have a movie that has so many similar beats and be that much more superior, in my opinion. This movie also has a kid that I hate.
No, finish your thought.
I would rather have the kid from The Omen. I would rather be the father of Damien the Antichrist than have this kid.
You gotta admit, okay, so all things aside, the kid is very on the spectrum, yes. I think is what you would have to say. On the spectrum, he's very vocal, he screams, he is needy and all that stuff.
He has no filter.
Out of all the movies that we've seen, this kid does more work than most any other horror movies that you will ever see. This kid actually captured the bad guy.
He has a little bit of that Kevin McAllister, like, Home Alone thing built in.
Other than, oh god, I had the word.
You just have to worry that he's going to break his, like, cousin's face, or he's going to kill you in your sleep, or
no,
like that.
I don't think that. I think everybody's just uncomfortable
with him. He did break his cousin's face. He broke her nose in two places.
Because she was being horribly mean to him.
No, that's because he was being a prick.
What else is a kid supposed to do? How is he being a prick? He was by himself in a
He probably bit her and, like, jerked off at her hair or something.
Oh my god. But other than Scooby-Doo, what instance do you see kids actually catching the bad guys in horror movies?
It's pretty rare.
None!
I mean, Sixth Sense.
This kid did work. Like, all things aside, I said he was obnoxious and loud and all that stuff. I think he has a bad reputation, and I think people
a lot of it also
want to hurt him for no reason whatsoever.
I don't want to hurt him. I just want him in a straitjacket.
Same thing. He actually, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. He knew what he had to do. He had a complete plan for it, and he executed the plan flawlessly.
Yeah, except for the fact that the Babadook isn't real and it's a metaphor for depression.
Okay, so this is a perfect example between Tony and Komette. Komette is very literal and sees things for exactly how they are. Tony is very physiological and sees things for what they're not supposed to be.
It's a little bit of both. if you take the literal interpretation of the Babadook and you set it up so that this
is it a folktale? Is it just
I'm
from
saying
the movie?
from their building up of the movie. I don't think the Babadook existed as a character before this. I might be mistaken there. All right. So if you were to take this as like the most literal interpretation that everything on the screen you are seeing is what happens in the film. It's a
haunting.
Yeah, it's a haunting. And it's interesting, and I really like the Babadook as like a figure. I like what that he's got a range of powers. I like that he's basically causing the mother to lose her shit more than he is actually causing damage himself.
Or the kid. He tried to possess the kid before.
Yeah.
Just saying. I'm sorry.
No, like I agree with you. I think that like his tactics are more interesting than a lot of horror movies get into, and I think that the Babadook is a very well constructed poltergeist, haunting character, whatever you want to call him, like a demon, whatever he is a really fun and cool like character. I love the book. I love how it adds to it. I love that it builds its own legend and puts itself deep in your mind. But I also think that as real as it was for this movie, I think the thing that they're mainly talking about here, like if we're talking ending explained and we're not going to go into exact spoilers of what happens, is that the Babadook is a metaphor for her fear and pain and for everything else that she's not encountering and just trying to get through without actually confronting it.
I think if you were to think of it that way, which I'm not disagreeing with him at all, but there would have to be a trigger point, but the book is what triggered all of it.
Yeah.
Instead of like something triggering it and then the book showing up, I think that would be a definite way. I think that this is very much a haunting, and the Babadook saw two weak people. He thought that the kid was really the weak one, so that's why he tried to possess him first, and really he saw the mom and it was like, wow, this woman is a wreck.
She's already unraveling.
Wreck. Yeah, and so that's why he chose to possess her instead. That's just my opinion. I'm very captivated by the idea of it being a personification of depression.
It's probably both. Like, she did the movie as a literal thing. She didn't add a lot of points for interpretation on, is this happening or is it just the mom?
Right.
Like, you could say there's things like that, hence with the dog, hence with, like, a lot of the other things. Like, and the part that's most compelling for that is whenever she goes to the police station and the charcoal stuff is on her hands, that she drew the book. She made the book.
Oh, I always thought it was from when she burned the book.
I like the way that I took it was because her hands were covered in that charcoal. It could be from burning it, but she just left it there, which would mean she pulled it out so that she could rebuild it. What? So, like, there are some hints that this might be completely cerebral, but I like the idea that it can be both at the same time, because this is a well-crafted movie. It's the woman's first attempt at horror. It's her first attempt at a feature
director.
She's got a new movie coming out, The Nightingale, sometime in August. That's part of the reason why we're doing this. I'm excited to see that. She did a great job in making a movie that could be a metaphor, that could be completely literal, or it could be a story that's telling us about both. And it gets deep into loss, and it actually manages to be creepy, and there are parts where the movement is scary. The only critique I have on things that brought me out a little bit is they use this one dinosaur scream a little bit too often in, like, whenever the Babadook's, like, on screen, and it was just a little bit weird to me. Like, that's a severe, like, having to dig deep nitpick.
He also didn't like the kid because he doesn't like kids.
No, I love kids. It's just this kid was annoying.
Yeah, I mean, he was a bit much.
Just kicking the back of the seat, screaming, "Mom!" after breaking a girl's nose. It's like, you need to tone it down just a little bit.
I think you're spoiled with the amount of... His niece is, like, the best.
Yeah, but my nephew's also crazy, so I see both sides.
Yeah. I think kids are fucking stupid. So... No, okay, so this movie actually scared me a little. I remember the first time I watched it back in 2014, and it scared me. Like, not to the point where I wasn't going to sleep or anything, but, like, the phone call and how he talks, and the book itself was really creepy, unsettling. And I think that they did a really good job of keeping that throughout the whole thing, especially, like, something as mundane. I like to look at it through the eyes of the kid, and if I were to find my mom completely clothed, sitting in the bathtub filled with water, I'd be like... I don't know what to do. And I would call my neighbor. And then if you called your neighbor and your mom starts threatening you with a knife, like, that's scary.
Yeah.
That is real scary. All things aside, looking at it that perspective, and, he does work, like setting up all the traps in the basement and everything. And ultimately it made it so they were able to do all of the resolution in the film. I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah. And as somebody who has woken up as a child with a person standing over the bed fully clothed holding a knife before, it was pretty triggering, like as far as just for like how it got like deep into your head a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where it's just like, I know that look. Mm-hmm. That actress who did the mom fucking nailed it. She was so good.
She was frail, but frightening at the same time.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people could pull that off. And it was like, I feel like her personality beforehand of her being really quiet and really sweet to all these people.
Yeah. And
like,
sort of
ultimately, she didn't deserve the reaction that she got from a lot of people. She got a bad reaction from her sister or best friend or something like that. All of that was completely unnecessary because of the person that she portrayed.
Well, all those people were just tired of her mourning, and it's like you can't rush that process. Mm-hmm. They were just tired of her like still mourning her late husband who died on her son's birthday, and like you could tell that they were just like they were over it. They were just like, get your shit together, move on, and it's like she wasn't ready.
Yeah. The end of this movie is not like any other that I've seen. I liked the end of this movie. Yeah,
and like that's where it comes back to being a metaphor. You've got about 5 seconds before I talk some things that might be spoilers. So, the reason why I partially think that this is a metaphor for dealing with loss, grief, mental illness, and basically conquering your own demons is that she had to accept that it was part of her, and she had to take care of it and maintain it so that she wouldn't get so deep that she lost herself again.
I can see it.
And I think that's what they were trying to say with the end of this movie.
The more, in the book, it says the more you deny it, like, the stronger I come, or whatnot. And that's why when she's like, no, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. And that's why he got bigger and bigger and bigger. But then finally, when she head on, I mean, I could see it, but I could still see a creature, like, imagine the horrifying creature that the more you try to rationalize that it's not real, the stronger it becomes. Yeah.
Especially if it feeds off of psychic energy or whatever you want, like whatever the rules are for it. Mm-hmm. Either way, like if that's how they have to keep themselves safe because it's attached themselves to them more than the house, more than anything else, then they still found a solution that's cool. Mm-hmm. So like overall, I would say that this movie, partially because it takes that original like haunting thing, like the in a single house drama, the in a bottle episode, and does it perfectly. It's like even in a house that looks like it was designed by Tim Burton because it's made entirely of slate gray. But like they did a great job taking that and making an original story inside of it.
I did like the original story. There's not much like this. So did it scare you?
I would say that there were moments where I was creeped out. There was never like oh God, what, like I can't look at the screen type stuff, but I was definitely like, they did a good job. This is creepy. I feel it in my gut a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a movie that's going to keep me up at night. I was spooked at a couple of moments just because the imagery and how they build it up is really well done.
Some of the movement, some of like...
Yeah, I don't think the creature himself was very... I thought he was a little stupid looking, but what he did, I think, was more scary.
Yeah. And it also showed that, like, he could take on different forms. Like, his avatar was a very simple thing that humans could comprehend. Mm-hmm. And then towards the end, you start seeing a little bit more of that true demonic form, but it gets kind of receded before you fully see it. Like, sort of an Eldritch Horror type thing.
Yeah. So, rewatchability.
This was the second time I've seen it. I noticed a little bit more. I think that there's decent rewatchability. Just give it a little bit of time between.
Yeah, I say a couple years in between. I watched it first in 2014. It's 2019 now. I was pleasantly surprised when we watched it again. I think if you give gaps in between it, you can definitely watch this a couple of times.
Yeah, it's not like a movie like Annihilation or something where you need to like pop it right back in and like,
that movie.
Go deep into
that. Okay, did you like it?
Definitely.
Yep, I definitely like it. It's not the top of the list, but it's definitely has a thumbs up from me.
Yeah, especially like if you're looking for something that's a bit different with an Australian director, a female director, lots of really cool stuff there that you don't get to see in horror as often as you should. So yeah, we're looking forward to her next movie coming out in a couple weeks. And,
I'm super excited, actually.
Yeah. And so thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. Also check out our Patreon at patreon.com/humanechoes. And maybe check out our merch at tpublic/humanechoes.
Yeah, and we'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.